One of my favorite things to do when cruising is explore a new cruise port. I like to just get off the cruise ship, walk around, and see what I could see. Well, I hadn't even really considered this, but maybe when cruising resumes again, that's not going to be possible. I'm only going to be able to do what the cruise ship allows me to do. Interesting stuff. Let's talk about it on today's episode of the Lido Loca Cruise Show. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. My name's Tony. If you enjoy that cruising and travel content, please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. Well, I've got some juicy nuggets for you today, and of course, the crown jewel will be the story about what you can do at the cruise port. But first, let's do some catch up on things from yesterday's show. First of all, only a few people got the answer to the trivia question yesterday, which was shocking. I figured it was easy, and maybe like 4 people out of the several, like close to 100 responses, only 4 people got the trivia question right. The trivia question: what cruise line's logo is called the Sea Witch? Come on, you guys, you know this logo, the Sea Witch. That is Princess Cruise Lines. Congratulations to those who got it right. Count me impressed. And then let's take a quick look at the stocks yesterday. Carnival Cruise Line opened at $17.15 and it closed at $16. It took a $1.15 loss. Royal Caribbean opening at $52, closing out at $48.25, $3.75 loss yesterday. Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings opening at $17.17, closing out at $15.80. That's a negative $1.37 loss. All 3 of the major lines taking a loss on the stocks yesterday. It's going to be interesting to see what happens today. Couple key dates are upon us. 29 days until the no-sell order expires from the CDC. To me, this is the first hurdle we have to jump to get our way back to cruising. So far, so good. That date seems to be holding. No extensions so far, 29 more days. And then 82 days until September the 15th, which is the date that the voluntary ban on cruising is in place until, as put forth by CLIA and aligned to by many of the major cruise lines. So 29 days until the no-sell expires, 82 days until September the 15th. Will we cruise again late September? Only time will tell. Let's take a quick look at the cruise news headlines. Kicking it off, New Zealand has expanded its cruising ban. New Zealand's Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has extended the cruising ban for potentially 60 or 90 more days. The ban was set to end at the end of this month, June the 30th. And New Zealand, one of the countries first to declare no virus cases in their country, recently have seen a couple new cases spring up. They've only experienced 22 deaths from the virus in New Zealand, very minimal from across the globe. But with the resurgence, just a couple new cases, the thought process here is to continue the cruising ban in New Zealand. They are opening their ports for some smaller ships for certain activities, but no cruising in New Zealand, at least for 60 more days. So that would be pushing it out August, September, and possibly into October. And now a little bit of a sad cruise news story. We have a ship named that is actually heading to the scrapyard. This is the Costa Victoria. This lovely cruise ship here actually servicing passengers before the shutdown in May. Built in 1996. That's a somewhat older cruise ship, but not ancient. Obviously still able to serve passengers, but costing Costa more than it could stand to pay. And now it has been regulated to a shipyard in Italy. At first, the thought was that it would be an accommodation ship, which is a ship that houses seafarers, people that are working around the port. But the mayor of Piombino, there near the port city, said that no, the Costa will actually be dismantled in the process of being dismantled there in the shipyard. Let's take just a brief moment and thank the Costa Victoria for her service. You will be missed. I mentioned it last week that Carnival Corporation will be disposing of 6 of its cruise ships, and these will most likely go to the scrapyard also. We continue to watch names. Now, Costa is a Carnival line. I'm not sure if this is one of the 6, But yeah, there's more to come. Now on to our main story. I saw this story on cruiseradio.net. Richard Sims over there reporting about an article from the Tribune, which is a Bahamian website, an article talking about what the experience in Nassau, Bahamas may be like when cruising resumes. This interview was with Michael Mora. He is the top executive at Nassau Cruise Ports. And he has kind of not a glum, but a cautious outlook when cruising returns in Nassau. So think about Nassau. If you've ever been to Nassau, Bahamas, when you get off the cruise ship, you kind of have to run the gauntlet. That's what I call it. You run the gauntlet of vendors there before you even get out of the cruise port. There's people that want to braid your hair, people that would like to sell you t-shirts, and there's no way to get around them. People trying to put you in taxis, give you tours. It's a little bit challenging. If Nassau is the first cruise port that you go to and get off the cruise ship, it can make you wonder, is this what cruising is really like, and do I like it? I don't particularly like it. I don't like the gauntlet there at Nassau, but you get dumped out right onto this main street where there's restaurants, more vendors, things to do. This is Bay Street. And the executive there, Michael Mora, said, don't expect people walking up and down Bay Street. I feel like this interview may be targeted at local Bahamian businesses. These are businesses that rely heavily on tourism, and he's making a lot of assumptions in the article. I just want to be straightforward with that. He's reading the tea leaves. He mentions a couple times the word assumptions and the way that he sees it. But this is the telling quote for me, and it's in regards to itineraries and how he feels that cruise ships will react when cruising begins again. He said, but it's what their itineraries look like and what the cruise passenger experience looks like when they return. We are without a vaccine for COVID-19, and when the cruise industry returns, they are likely to maintain strict controls over the passengers and ensure they remain in a sterile environment as much as possible. The cruise lines will have gone through extra measures to screen those passengers as they board their ships in Miami, Port Everglades, and Canaveral. So I think it's a fair assumption that the initial experience upon their return to Nassau will be one of the pre-approved excursions where the cruise lines have been satisfied by local excursion provider or tour operator that they meet very stringent safety protocols and ensure their passengers remain COVID-free. This is the big quote from Michael Mora there, and it is kind of telling and something I haven't particularly considered. I was thinking about my last trip to Nassau. I got off the cruise ship with friends. We walked the streets of Nassau. We went to the Pirate Republic Brewing Company. We went to the John Watling's Distillery. We went to the Grey Cliff Chocolatier. We did that all on our own without any supervision, without any need for an excursion. It was a great day. A lot of people like to walk around Nassau, go to the straw market, go to the Queen's Staircase. But yeah, this guy suggests that will not be the case going forward. And it really challenges me because I'm not always an excursion guy. Some of the best times I've had, say in Puerto Rico, was wandering around with my friends trying to find mofongo. And to be honest, I really only thought about it, I guess, from the cruise port's perspective. I really felt there would be stringent measures in place when people are leaving the cruise ship coming into a port, screening that way to make sure that cruise passengers aren't bringing the virus into the cruise port. I don't guess I'd really considered what happens once you get beyond that screening process. This article in the Tribune is pretty interesting. I would recommend reading it. At the end of the day, it really points out the challenges for these port cities that are already struggling because of the lack of tourism. And now when tourism resumes, there could be a part of the tourism businesses that are disadvantaged based on not having relationships or their business model or not being a preferred vendor of the cruise line. It's going to be interesting to see how all this is reconciled. I can think of the numerous small vendors that we visited in different cruise ports that would probably not be something that's picked by the cruise lines because it's not like an official tour or an excursion. Another big takeaway that Mr. Mora put forth, and I really feel like his audience there, like he was speaking to businesses there in Nassau is that don't expect cruise passengers to be on the streets in 2020. Expect it to look like a phased reopening that many countries have gone to, where first it's very limited, very controlled before it goes to the broader, wider normalcy that we've been used to. So it will continue to be a tough challenge for vendors in these tourism ports, in addition to the challenges we face as cruisers. I don't know what the answer is, and again, we're slowly marching to finding out how it's going to be. But yeah, I expected no buffets, but I didn't expect the inability to wander around a cruise port. It does raise the question, how would you feel if you could no longer self-explore a cruise port? Would that change your cruising experience? Would you be content just going somewhere and only doing a shore excursion? What's that going to do to your cruise budget? I know a lot of people don't participate in the excursions because it can add a significant expense to your cruise experience. And a lot of people have found that for less money, they can have their own fun. It's a lot cheaper to rent a taxi than to go on an excursion many times. And now if that's off the table, how will that change cruising? How will that change your cruising experience? Thank you guys so much for stopping by. If you want more information about CALIA shutting down cruising until September the 15th, check out this video here. And there's another video that YouTube recommends. Please show your support by hitting the like button. This is Tony with Lido Loca. And until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido.